The Morning X, Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy at Comedy Central. Please say hello to Mr. David Matthews.
Why is it Comedy Central? Is that why my country? I didn't realize I was doing a comedy show.
Via Comedy Central.
Via.
You're a funny guy.
Now it's time to, you can try your stand-up now, Dave.
Yeah.
My stand-up.
What's your best joke, Dave? The one you always pull out when you're at a party. Dave Matthews, go.
The one I pull out at a party, I can't pull out now because it's
Sure you can.
a show on the radio.
Give us a joke. Nobody's told a joke.
Okay, I have a good one for you. How does it go? So there's a separate. I think there's a separate gate. I can't tell a joke.
You sure?
But everybody should have one party joke. You got to have one to.
You've got to have
pull one out of your pocket at any given time.
There's a separate gate for nuns. You're going into heaven. There's a separate gate. There's a different gate that nuns get to go to because they're closer to God.
Right.
So Pete, I guess, takes a little time off of the one gate to service the nuns at the other gate. And so as there's a line of nuns, I guess there was a bus wreck full of nuns or something. That's why there was a line of nuns that were all familiar with each other at the nun gate.
Right.
And then Peter said to them, if you have any final sins to absolve yourself of, or whatever the correct term would be, to do them now, and then you can pass into heaven. So to the first one, have you ever touched a penis? Or the first nun says, well, just with a very, you can say penis on the radio, right?
Sure, say what you want, Dave.
You can't say none on the radio. That's weird.
You can't say nun penis.
That's right.
Don't feel sheltered. Let it out.
Okay. Anyway, she said once with the tip of my finger I touched a penis. So he said, well, dip your fingertip into the holy water and pass into heaven. So then the second nun came and he, and he, did you ever touch a penis? And she said, I guess he was obsessed with penises at the time. She said, well, I've stroked a penis once. I may have massaged, I think is the term that she used.
Right.
Massaged a penis.
This is a great Bible Belt joke.
Well, yeah, exactly. So then down, so wash your hand in the holy water and pass into heaven. And then there was a bustle in the line. There was a hustle and a bustle in the line. There was some pushing and shoving, and then up to the front came and he said, look, you'll all get your chance. She just, then the nun that had pushed her way to the front said, well, I just want to, if I'm going to gargle this stuff, I want to do it before Sister Mary sticks her butt in the sink.
That's nice. Christian Rock 99X. Dave Matthews, joke telling.
Well, now, was it you grew up in South Africa, or was you just born there and then moved right
I was
away?
just born there and I grew up there.
So, what is the main sport there? Rugby?
They like rugby, they like cricket with its
Cricket?
Cricket's a good game. We just haven't gotten it. There's not enough commercial breaks, so we don't know about it in America.
Yeah, that's about
the same with soccer.
Here.
That's why the finest sport in the world, soccer, is not big here because there are not enough places for Budweiser to stuff their fat, swelling selves in.
I thought
Can I say Budweiser's fat, swelling selves on the radio? Because that seems like that's
sure.
You can say
I don't drink Budweiser.
Sure,
but I would if that's what was happening in the room.
They don't pay your paycheck.
If it was there.
What do you care?
Hey, do you find yourself, Dave, coming in and out of your accent more times than others? Because sometimes you have a distinctive accent, sometimes it's not there at all.
That's when I have a distinctive, that word.
That?
I am fibbing.
It's whatever's happening.
Really?
It's whatever's happening in the room.
Whatever's in the room at the time.
Yes.
Do you play a sport? Because I think the last time we talked to you, didn't you mention you played soccer before, or rugby or something?
I think I may have, reluctly. But now I can tell you the truth and say that
He could have been fitting.
I did it very reluctantly. I did play a sport, but that's only because if I hadn't, I would have been beaten.
You still live in Charlottesville, right?
Yes, I still live in Charlottesville, right?
What was it? Did you used to play on a Wednesday night, or what was the night you played every week? Everyone talks about, I saw Dave Matthews when he used to play Wednesday nights at so-and-so.
We used to play Tuesday night and Wednesday night in a couple of clubs, but...
You ever go back?
And then we played every night. No, we don't.
You don't pop in for the surprise,
we try to play it back. We try to do a gig at home. We tried to do a gig in Charlottesville at the university, and I'm sure the students there would have liked us to play at the university, but the university said no.
They didn't want you to play?
No, because we have women's hockey or something, women's field hockey.
Brutal.
There's too much happening.
Okay.
So we said, well, we'll play anytime, and they said no. So then we'd like to play in Charlottesville, but there's a conspiracy by the university against us. They're conspiring against us.
What pisses you off?
What pisses me? You can say piss on the radio, too?
Yeah. Dave, we can say whatever we want.
It's very exciting. You can say whatever you want, but you can't say frog, can you? What pisses me off?
What's the last time you said, man, that pisses me off?
So many things piss me off.
Name one.
I can't think of any right now because none of them are in the room.
He'll think of it in a few minutes.
Yeah.
When it comes to you,
Chest pain. That pisses me off.
That's
Bad chest pain.
We were
Social diseases, they bum me out too. Don't you wish it was the 60s and they weren't as frequent as they are now? Well, they were frequent then, but you could just take a couple antibiotics or whatever. But I hate all the brand new spangly ones with bells and ringers.
The spangly one what's?
Social diseases. Pay attention.
Gotcha.
Social diseases aren't as fun as they used to be.
No, they used to just be something you visited if it was in the room.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, were there any vocalists or singers that you just thought were amazing?
Lots of them, and then if I were to run them off, it would take hours, and then I'd feel guilty afterwards because I'd remember one that I really liked that I forgot to mention.
You've played with Bob Dylan, haven't you?
We fiddled if we were in the same room. No, we did play. We played in Europe together, I think. Europe. We played in Europe together. We traveled. He let us tag along for.
How intimidating is that?
Well, he was very gracious, and so was everyone involved with him. So it was actually, it was overwhelming, but it was much more of a. He had much more of a there was much more of a welcoming sense than there was an intimidation. Just intimidated by all that he's done, but
yeah, right.
But he was still it was very gracious.
We're talking to Dave Matthews live in New York.
Okay, we're going to open up the Morning X box of questions. These are just some random questions for you.
Okay, so they're probably really. Go ahead.
These have
they're really intelligent.
It's morning show in a box is basically what it is, Dave.
Trivial Pursuit.
I'll start.
Yes.
What should every man and woman be able to try once in their life? Dave Matthews.
Liberally piddling all over each other. Or both separately or together?
Dave.
Either or.
That's my answer. That's
his answer.
No, that's a great answer.
That's a great answer.
That's a wonderful
everyone should be
answer.
able to try that once in their lives. Not that they have to. Everyone should be able to do it with a 21-year-old in the Lincoln bedroom.
There you go.
Excellent answer.
That's a good.
But for the record, when were you piddled over last?
I have never been piddled over.
Okay.
But I look forward to the day. All I can do is ask.
Yeah.
And ask and hope that one day I'll be lucky enough to either be in the Lincoln bedroom or get piddled on, or both.
Keep that in mind.
That'd be the ding, 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 a new car.
If you're on your way to a Dave Matthews show listening to this, keep that in mind on your way to the... you think them throwing panties up on stage was
big
bad. You don't know
full
you
of
started.
whittle. If one tight-hatted meathead hurls a glass of his urine at me, I shall have him executed.
If you knew a nuclear war would begin in 2 hours, what would you do?
I would think sex would be
for 2 hours.
Well, at least 10 minutes.
Okay.
5 minutes, okay.
More realistic.
And, no, well, at that point, I think probably just pathetically wobble, wouldn't it? I mean, you have 2 hours to live. It'd just be like, I'd sob like a buffoon for 2 hours. I'd start digging.
Well, after the sex, you'd have an hour and 50 left.
I don't think I'd think about it. I think I'd probably have about a quarter of an inch of a penis if I was 2 hours to live. The whole world's going to be annihilated. I think my sexual drive would probably suck up its fundamental orifice. But I'd start digging desperately down. Digging, I'd be looking for a cave. Where's a cave? I need to go find a cave. I'd follow the president, is what I'd do. I know he's got a cave.
He has a cave.
What's the most outrageous rumor you've heard about you?
I've died of AIDS. I died in Italy of AIDS.
Yes, that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I died. In fact, somebody was in the hospital lobby and they saw me being taken weak and thinned.
We remember that. It was on CNN. It was such a strange
rumor.
CNN?
Yes.
What?
That was years ago.
Maybe you did die of AIDS.
Who has the worst name that you know?
Who has the worst name? Can you think of any good ones, Mikey? Who has that? What an
Maybe somebody you went to
It is
school
an
with?
odd question.
Maybe somebody you went to school with as a kid?
But what if I say his name and then he's listening? He moved to Atlanta.
That's
then
right.
He's bummed out.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
some
What's the
kids-
weirdest name? What's the worst? What do you think? Do you have an opinion? You haven't thought
You know
of
I
it,
don't. I'm not the
You gotta
interview.
ask
Let's tear this question up.
It's not
Okay.
I can't think. But
Have
there's a funny name out there. What?
Have you had anybody track you down from high school with some just out of control story about how they were in your life at one point and they really need to be in your show?
Not in my show. No, but
Like
I've seen.
they want to get in, they want tickets. Dave, remember me from?
Yeah, that happens, but it's usually it's pretty interesting.
Really?
You know, if someone from when you were 12
trying to think back, remember me?
Goes, and you usually do. Then I'm usually curious, so I'd like to see them, but it doesn't happen all that often. But I'm usually curious. Yeah, I want to see them.
Do you ever forget lyrics at shows?
Well, no. See, the thing is, I can't forget lyrics because whatever comes out of my mouth is the
Could be a new lyric.
Really?
That's
is
it.
the lyric.
I mean, are you ever just drink too? I mean, just space out for a minute.
Yeah, there's been a couple, but I usually enjoy those moments.
Yeah, they're rare bootlegs
He goes
now.
with it.
Hip, dip. Yeah, sometimes I just have to make a couple noises.
And finally, what was it like playing with the Stones?
It was great fun. You know, sort of you can't say no to the Stones. It was,
Right.
But it's hard to describe what it was like. I guess it was great fun opening up for them. We did that in Texas and Miami, but it was definitely the audience was not necessarily there to see us. That was clear. But we played to a lot of new people.
Thanks for taking time to hang with us.
Cheers.
Dave Matthews on the Morning X.
The best of the Morning X. 99X.